though there is nothing lacking in my life, why are we so restless? Why is there no stillness? How should we live our lives in our retired stage of life? Well, this actually pertains to everybody. Because the lack of ease, the lack of stillness, interestingly, it's not due to what we do. A lot of people think, well, if I could just do less, I'd be still, I'd be calm. And what you find is, actually that which keeps you from being calm is not what you do, but it's what happens in your mind. So it's how you think about what you're doing, or what else you're thinking about while you're doing something else. But it's the workings of the mind that keep you from being still. The lack of ease, the restlessness, is a product of the mind. It's not a product of my career. And when I retire, then I can sit on the porch and sit on the swing and drink lemonade, and then I'll be calm. When I can just stop getting up every day and going to work, then I won't be restless. No, sadly. Because the restlessness is in your mind. And you carry that with you wherever you go. You know, my academic background is psychology, and even though it's been decades since I've been in school, I love psychology. And I love particularly psychological studies that tell us so much about ourselves. And one of the pieces of information that I love is that married couples, or even unmarried couples, but couples, tend to fight a lot more on vacation than normally. Well, this is exactly the opposite of what we would think. You'd think, well, we fight because there's stress, there's tension, and so when we just can finally get to, the Bahamas, or when we can finally get skiing, or then it'll all be okay. In that cabin in the woods, it's all going to be okay. But actually what it turns out is that all of that empty space, all that time, without things to actually keep us busy, like grocery shopping and taking the kids to school or going to work, if we haven't solved the issues of our mind or the issues of our relationship, they grow like, has anybody seen Little Shop of Horrors? They grow. The little garden literally becomes Little Shop of Horrors in our minds and our relationships. And this is the same thing whether it's a relationship with another person or a relationship with yourself. Do not think that suddenly by retiring, your stress is going to go away. Unless, should you be one of those people for whom the only cause of stress is not having enough money to put food on the table, not having enough money to send your children to school, not having enough money to buy sweaters for the winter. Well, if you've got a good pension, okay, maybe that would help you out. But for all the rest of us, all the tension, all the stress, all the restlessness, it's the games that the mind plays. In psychology, we call the everything will be okay in the Bahamas, we call it pulling a location. That's the term, pulling a location. If I just go there, everything will be okay. If I just leave here, everything will be okay. And you take yourself with you. So similarly in retirement, when you retire, you're going to still be there. And so regardless of what age you are, whether you're in school, whether you're working, whether you're retiring, this is the time to work on your mind. It will make your job feel as nice as retirement. It will make going to school feel as nice as retirement. Because again, it's not the study, it's not the job that actually is that which causes the stress. It's how we think about it. Or how who we are is interacting with it, with the work itself, with the people for whom we work, or who work for us, or with whom we work. But it's all taking place in our minds. And so why not start now? If you're already retired, well, the good thing is at least you've got a lot of time. But even if you're not retired yet, you're in school, you're working, whatever time you have. And the good thing about working on your mind is you can do it anywhere. You can do it sitting on a subway, you can do it stuck in traffic, you can do it in a boardroom, you can do it washing dishes, you can do it anytime. That which makes us restless is an internal sense of things should be different than they are. That's the restlessness. And if I think I know what to do to make things better, I'm going to run around doing it. Whether it's addictions in my life, if I just drink this or take this or eat that, I'm going to feel better. Whether it's if I had enough money, it would be better, so I'm going to run around. Whether it's relationships, whatever it may be. I'm going to run around trying to solve that sense within me that things should be different. But nothing I do ever solves it. As those of us who have lived long enough to run around enough already know. Those of you who haven't yet lived long enough, take it from us. It doesn't work. There is nowhere you can run, nothing you can earn or achieve that's actually gonna bring that stillness in your mind, that's actually gonna make it all okay in your mind. And this is where the spiritual practice is one that emphasizes who you are, not how much you make, not what you do for a job, not what area of town your house is in, not who you're married to or who your children are, but who you are. At the core, not the clothes you wear, not the jewelry you wear, not the car you're driving in, but the core of who you are. At this very moment, with exactly everything you have, everything that's happened, this moment, you are enough. This moment, you are full. This moment, you are exactly right. And that's what our spirituality teaches us. And that doesn't mean, therefore, in this moment, you should be ecstatic. This may be a moment of sadness for you. You may have just lost a loved one. Something may have just happened. Knowing that you are right, you are enough, you are divine, doesn't mean I don't get sad. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. Knowing that this situation is exactly right for this moment doesn't mean that I'm going to convince myself it feels great. What it means is that I'm going to stop telling myself that the answer is in changing the situation. That if I just could do this, make this happen, earn that, achieve this, if I could just do that, then I would be okay. It's that voice in our mind that spirituality stops. And again, it doesn't mean that we don't try to change things. We do. You heard Pujya Swamiji speak on the banks of Ganga. Those of you who know the work we do, know the work we do. Morning till night, trying to make things better. Whether through education, whether through programs for women, whether through environment, water, sanitation, hygiene, medical care, whatever it is. But there isn't a sense of restlessness inside of until I can get that medical camp running, I'm not okay. Until I can get this happening, I'm not okay. It's not a restlessness that says, until this, until that, until I can, until I am, until I go. And that's the restlessness that stays with most of us for most of our lives, even in retirement. If I just could play golf better, if this lemonade were sweeter, if my porch were a nicer place to sit, if my children would just get married, for God's sakes, if my children would just settle down and get a job, if my children would stop working so much, if my children would have children, if my children's children would stop working so much, whatever it may be. As long as we have a pattern of thinking in our minds, a pattern of restlessness, that's going to stay with you whether you're sipping lemonade on a porch, or you're sitting in a boardroom, or you're sitting in front of a computer, or you're performing a bypass operation as a surgeon. Wherever you are, if that's the way that your mind works, that's the way it's going to work. And so whether it's retirement or whether it's young age, this is the time. Work on the mind. Work on the mind. How can I feel right here, right now, in this moment? Enough? Okay? Right? Both in myself as well as in my surroundings. And then the earlier in life you learn it, the longer it's going to benefit you. But if you've already retired, don't worry. As Puja Swamiji says, whenever you wake up, it's morning.